our traditional rulers from across the Southwest states, it's our pleasure to have you here. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it is with a deep sense of duty and commitment that I stand before you today at the official flag-off of the Northwest Geopolitical Zone campaign against drug addiction. Sorry, I've been mentioned, Northwest, sorry. Northwest Geopolitical Zone campaign against drug addiction, illicit drug trade. This event marks a crucial step in our collective mission to protect our communities, safeguard our youth, and secure the prosperous future for our beloved region and nation. The menace of drug abuse and the circulation of illicit drugs is not just a national challenge, but a crisis that threatens the very fabric of our society. However, drug abuse does not exist in isolation. Research has shown a direct link between drug abuse, violent crimes, and especially domestic crimes. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, drug-related crimes, including armed robbery, kidnapping, terrorism, domestic violence, and sexual assault, are significantly fueled by substance abuse. Across Nigeria, communities are witnessing a rise in violent criminal activities, and at the core of this menace lies the illicit drug trade, which fuels instability and destroys lives. Today, we declare enough is enough. National Orientation Agency, in collaboration with stakeholders at federal, state, and local levels, is spearheading this 4-month-long campaign to confront this growing crisis head-on. We are here to spark a movement of awareness, engagement, and action that will permeate every corner of our society, from the streets of Kano to the rural communities of Zamfara, from the schools in Katsina to the marketplaces in Sokoto, and every nook and cranny of the Northwest states. Studies have established that drug abuse significantly contributes to violent crimes. The United States National Institute on Drug Abuse reports that individuals under the influence of drugs are more likely to engage in violent behavior due to impaired judgment, heightened aggression, and decreased impulse control. The impact of drug-fueled violence is devastating. Many young people, lured by the promise of quick wealth, fall into the trap of drug cartels, leading to increased gang-related violence. Drug abuse has been identified as a major contributor to domestic violence, with cases of abuse and assault on the rise. Terrorist groups often exploit vulnerable youths, using drugs to manipulate and control them into carrying out heinous crimes. Drug abuse diminishes fear and moral reasoning, making individuals more prone to engaging in violent criminal acts. We cannot address violent crimes in the Northwest without tackling the root cause: drug abuse and illicit drug trade. This campaign, therefore, calls to action for all stakeholders to break the circle of addiction and crime, ensuring a safer society for all. This initiative is not just another awareness program. It is a call to action for all stakeholders: the government, religious leaders, community elders, youth groups, civil society organizations, and the private sector. Our objectives are clear: to create awareness about the dangers of drug abuse and its direct link to violent crimes, to mobilize communities, especially our youth, to resist and reject drug culture and criminal activities, to engage policymakers to strengthen laws and enforcement against drug trafficking and violent crimes, and to advocate for rehabilitation and reintegration of those affected by addiction and criminal influence. Our traditional and religious leaders must take a stand as the custodians of our values and moral compass. Your voices resonate deeply within our communities, and your influence can inspire change. We urge you to use your platforms to discourage drug use, advocate for rehabilitation, and lead a strong movement against crime and addiction. The time to act is now. The legal framework governing drug control must be reinforced and enforcement mechanisms strengthened to ensure that traffickers and enablers of this illicit trade face the full force of the law. We must work towards policies that not only punish offenders, but also support preventive measures and rehabilitation programs that integrate victims of addiction and crime back into society as productive citizens. We note and commend the renewed vigor and commitment of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, under the leadership of the chairman, the perennial performer, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, CON. The effort of NDLEA in the fight against drug trafficking and illicit drugs usage have rekindled the hope that our country can win the battle. However, more needs to be done by all of the society. Intelligence-led interventions, swift enforcement actions, and collaboration with local community will be vital in dismantling criminal networks. And violent crime must be won in the streets, in our neighborhoods, and in our homes. To the youth, market women, transport unions, and all community groups, you are the heartbeat of this campaign. Say no to drugs, protect your peers, and take ownership of your future. The choices you make today will determine the prosperity of our communities tomorrow. This campaign will employ a multifaceted approach to ensure maximum reach and impact. Town hall meetings will provide platform for real conversations where stakeholders can develop practical, locally relevant solutions. Community engagement and roadshows will take the message directly to the people to break communication barriers and reach those most vulnerable. Advocacy visits will secure the commitment of political, traditional, and religious leaders to support legislative reforms and community-based rehabilitation. Education and awareness will be reinforced through the production and distribution of information, education, and communication materials to empower communities with knowledge. A robust media campaign leveraging television, radio, including production and deployment of television commercials and radio jingles, and social media platforms will drive home the message in major local languages. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this campaign is not just about today's event. It is about the future we want to build. The future is important to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Dr. Abbas Tajuddin, who convened this campaign. We, on behalf of all stakeholders, appreciate his commitment to the well-being of the people. We pledge to do our utmost to deliver on this assignment. If we do not act decisively, we risk losing an entire generation to addiction, crime, and violence. As we flag off this campaign today, I urge every one of us to take this message beyond this all. Let us be ambassadors of change in our communities, workplaces, schools, and places of worship. A Nigeria free from drug abuse and violent crime is possible. A Northwest region where our youth thrive, where families are whole, and where communities are safe is within our reach, but only if we can stand together. Let us rise to the occasion and take back our communities from the grip of drug abuse, illicit trade, and violent crimes. Together, we can achieve a safer, drug-free Northwest. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Please, another big round of applause for the Director General, Malan Larry Isa Onilo. He said it all. Let me quickly recognize the chairman of my own local government where I reside at the moment. That is the Honorable Chairman of the local government, Alaji Sani Abdul Zango Aya. And also from the traditional side, we have Falak Inzazo Malam Usman Abba Ibrahim Kaduna. You are welcome to this particular occasion. The convener, Right Honorable Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, a chieftain from Zazo Emirate, and also a chieftain from Gwandu Emirate. He is Megirma in Zazo Emirate, and also Wambam Gwandu from Gwandu Emirate. Permit me at this particular moment to move on to unrelentless, untiring General, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, Chairman NDLEA, to come over here and give us the keynote address. Sir. Yes, please spoil him as he's standing up towards me. It's just an honor and privilege for me to invite him here. I'm supposed to take the mic to him, but the organization makes it so. So with due respect, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Honorable Speaker of the House of Reps and Ian Zazzau, His Excellency the Right Honorable Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, His Excellency Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented, and representatives of other governors, distinguished senators and honorable members, House of Reps here present, esteemed speakers and honorable member states, House of Assemblies, the DG, NOA, please allow me to stand on existing protocols. I am happy to be among distinguished personalities, esteemed stakeholders, members of the press, and well-meaning citizens of Kaduna State and the Northwest geopolitical zones that are present in this room today. I'm grateful for the opportunity of delivering the keynote address at this all-important gathering put together to address a matter of urgent national importance, our collective fight against drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking in Nigeria. There is no greater problem in Nigeria today than the problem of drug abuse. You know it, I know it. Most families and every single community have these problems. Each of us in this hall today knows somebody, either in his family or her family, or relation, or neighbor who has drug abuse problem. Am I right? The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has the mandate of enforcing the law against the cultivation, the processing, the manufacturing, the selling, importing, exporting, marketing, and trafficking of illicit drugs. Kuma kowa ya san ba wasa muke ba. This law enforcement aspect of our work is referred to as drug supply reduction. We seize the drugs, forfeit the proceeds thereof through the court processes, and prosecute the dealers and barons. The second aspect of our work is geared towards drug demand reduction. In drug demand reduction, we work towards the elimination of drug abuse through prevention, treatment, and aftercare of those who are afflicted with drug use. At this time, I would like to seek your indulgence, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, and our distinguished personalities, for you to watch a short video clip that will introduce to you our activities in NDLEA. Now, what you are about to watch is only 1 week's activity, last week. Every week, we produce the same video which we circulate. You will observe the word WADA in the video, WADA, that is War Against Drug Abuse. It's just a 1 week of our activities. Please play the video.
from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA.
I would like to begin my address by commending the Honorable Speaker of the House of Reps, His Excellency Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, for convening this very important and crucial initiative aimed at examining and finding lasting solutions for the people of the Northwest Geopolitical Zone against the scourge of drug abuse. This effort is a testament to your commitment to building a society free from the devastating consequences of substance abuse. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. To be commended also is the National Orientation Agency under the able and dynamic leadership of its DG, Malam Larry Onilu, for organizing this event. Well done. Please permit me to also seize this opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of our governors and our royal fathers who in their various ways have contributed and continue to contribute to tackling this problem of drug abuse. Like many other nations, Nigeria is grappling with the tragic consequences of drug abuse, particularly our youth. The 2018 National Drug Use Survey conducted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and the Nigerian government revealed an alarming reality that 14.3 million Nigerians abuse drugs, based between the ages of 15 and 64. That translates to 1 in 7 Nigerians. Anywhere you put 7 Nigerians within this age bracket, one of them, yana shan kwaya, ko wiwi, ko su cocaine, da shaudansu. Even more disturbing is the fact that 1 in 4 drug users is female, and 1 in 5 drug abusers is suffering from drug use disorder. A closer look at the Northwest Geopolitical Zone, comprising Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara states, presents an even more concerning picture. With an estimated 25 million people in 2016, this zone remains the most populous zone in Nigeria. The survey estimated that 12% of the region's population, that is approximately 3 million people, are drug abusers. The most commonly abused substances include cannabis, that is wiwi, followed by opioids such as tramadol, codeine, and cough syrups that contain codeine. But bad as it is, the prevalence in the Northwest Zone actually ranks number 4 in Nigeria. The zone with the highest prevalence in drug abuse is the Southwest Geopolitical Zone, with about 24%. This is followed by the South-South Zone, then Southeast Zone, then the Northwest, followed by the Northeast, and finally the North Central. State by state, the Northwest shows that Kano has the highest prevalence with 16%. In Kano, approximately 1 million people use drugs. This is followed by Zamfara at 13.5%, where 312,000 people use drugs. Kebbi is next at 12.6%, with 286,000 drug users, followed by Katsina at 12%, 481,000 users. Kaduna has 10%, 462,000 users. Sokoto at 9%, 230,000 users. And Jigawa at 7%, 211,000 users. To kowa da ya ji yadda nashi jihan take. These figures are deeply troubling and underscore the urgent need for collective action to combat drug abuse and its devastating consequences. The Northwest, like other regions of Nigeria, has seen a surge in drug-related crimes, addiction, and social decay. Drug abuse is not only a law enforcement issue. It is a public health crisis, a social problem, and an economic burden. Its effects ripple through families, schools, workplaces, and communities, leading to health crises, lost productivity, financial strain on families and the healthcare system, and increased security threats. No one escapes from this problem. It is not something that you say it's only the poor, or only the rich, or only Arewa, or only South, or only Muslim, or only Christian. Every segment of the society is involved. Once a former governor came to me in the office complaining of the drug issue of one of his children. And he told me that every night he waits for that his son to come back home first before he will sleep. He will never go to bed before that boy comes back for fear. Now the parents are afraid of their children. We have children that kill their parents because of drug abuse and their spouses. There is a strong link between drug abuse and criminal activities, such as banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, and murder. We know this. Indeed, in my tenure in the NDLEA, perhaps the second most important seizure that I recorded was the seizure of Captagon pills. Captagon pills. We seized in 2022 500,000 of those pills. Let me tell you what Captagon pills do. They are stimulants that belong to the class of amphetamines. When you pop the pill, you won't sleep for days, you become more violent, you don't have fear of anything or anybody, you are not hungry. This was exactly what Hitler used in the outbreak of World War II, a variant of it, that they issued to their forces to invade Poland and France. And within 3 weeks, they were able to achieve it because the troops took these pills. These pills were destined for Boko Haram at the time. But through Allah's grace, we were able to intercept it in the port of Lagos and deny the Boko Haram these pills. Beyond the crime statistics, we must recognize the human cost of drug use epidemic. Addiction, broken homes, lost opportunities, mental health crisis, preventable deaths, and an overburdened healthcare and justice system. These are not just numbers. They are our children, our brothers, sisters, and friends, their potential squandered by addiction. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, though the NDLEA is the lead agency on illicit drug control in Nigeria and the first responder, the task of tackling drug abuse is not that of NDLEA alone. This crisis demands a multi-sectoral response involving law enforcement agencies, parents, community leaders, traditional and religious leaders, civil society organizations, educators, media, and indeed the entire society. We have to approach it collectively. Everybody has a role to play. And we recognize the resilience and the cultural values of the people of the Northwest geopolitical zone. And so we call on community leaders, parents, royal fathers, clergy, young people, everybody to play an active role in preventing and controlling drug abuse and trafficking. This campaign that is being flagged off today, aimed at tackling drug abuse in the Northwest, is part of a broader national strategy to rid Nigeria of the scourge of illicit drugs. In line with the National Drug Control Master Plan, NDCMP, which outlines our national framework on drug control, we are implementing a balanced approach that includes prevention, treatment, care, and law enforcement. The NDLEA has intensified efforts to apprehend drug traffickers and dismantle drug cartels. Recently, all across the social media, there was a video clip showing an Indian pharmaceutical company that is sending tramadol under different names to the West African sub-region. For those who watched that, if you listen carefully, the BBC actually did the investigation on that, and they asked the marketing manager of that Indian company that they want to import to Nigeria. And the Indian man said he can send it, but not to Lagos, because they will get it. So I thought that's a very good point, that even there, they know that there's an NDLEA in Nigeria that is working. By the way, for those who watch that, the company has been banned in India and is under investigation because we are working with our counterparts. The Narcotic Control Board of India and the NDLEA of Nigeria, we signed an MOU to collaborate to stop the exportation of this type of drugs into Nigeria. Our landmark operations, such as the seizure of large consignments of drugs and the arrest of kingpins, have sent a strong message that we in the NDLEA will not relent in our fight against this menace. In the past 4 years, The NDLEA has arrested over 57,000 traffickers, including 65 barons. We have also convicted 10,572 in the courts. Our seizure was in excess of 9.9 million kilograms of illicit substances. I mentioned earlier that the Captagon was my second most important seizure. Well, let me tell you the most important seizure. That was again in 2022 when we seized 2.1 tons of cocaine in one night of intelligence-led operations, and 2.1 tons at the time was valued at $300 million. $300 million. If you do the arithmetic today, maybe it will be approaching 500 billion. We seized, arrested 5 kingpins in the same night, and already 4 of them have been convicted. Recognizing addiction as a health issue, we have prioritized treatment and rehabilitation. This has led us to establish 30 counseling and rehabilitation centers. The NDLEA has in 30 states command 1 rehabilitation center each. These rehabilitation centers provide psychosocial interventions, medical care, referrals, and social integration for recovering drug users. In addition, we have built 3 new model counseling rehabilitation centers, 1 in Kano, another in Abuja, and the 3rd one in Adamawa State. And we recently renovated the rehabilitation center in Zaria. You will see it as you enter Zaria on the right side. Across the 7 Northwest states, all of the states, we have counseling and rehabilitation centers. But the smallest is the one in Zamfara State, which has only a 3-bed space. And I'm glad to say that Zamfara State government, right now, they are building a brand new rehabilitation center for the state. So far, we have counseled and rehabilitated over 22,000 drug abusers in our facilities. And I'd like to make it clear to this audience that it is not everyone that we arrest that we send to jail. When we make our raids and arrests through our protocols in the state commands, we determine who needs to be prosecuted and who needs help. For instance, not too long ago, we intervened in an all-night party somewhere in Abuja where they were throwing a party, they call it cannabis party, wee party. We arrested over 200 that night. But the only people that we prosecuted were 3 out of that number. Those were the dealers and the organizers who traded the stuff. But the rest of them, we got their parents and they went through counseling for about 2 weeks, and then we allowed them to go. So the NDLEA, what I'm trying to say is, people should not be afraid of coming to the NDLEA command to complain that they have problem with drugs and they need help. We will help them. Amma duk wanda ya zo mana da bokitin wiwi ya ce gashi yana da problem din shan shaye-shaye mun san cewa ƙaryen shi ne because ba zai zo da bokiti ba. We know that's a dealer and such people will not come to us. But genuine people, families, can bring their children, relatives, ask for help about shaye-shaye, and we will offer this help. Now, we also have the category of those people who don't want to be seen attending a rehab center because of the stigma. They don't want people, and these especially are women in this part of the country, where they don't want someone to see them entering a rehabilitation facility because za a ce ashe wance ita ma tana shaye-shaye. So for those, we set up a free national call center. It's a helpline which, when you call, you have experts. You have counselors, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, who work 24/7 to attend to clients, discreetly and anonymously. You just mention the problem that you are having. We are not interested in even who you are or your name or where you live, but we will give help. Sometimes people call this number. Let's say a person in Bauchi will call the number and ask, I need to attend a rehabilitation center, but not in Bauchi, in Jos, because they don't want people to see them where they live. So they ask, and this number will give you exactly where to go in Jos or Kano or any state. So I'm saying that we have a service in the NDLEA. You only need to make a phone call and you will get help. And that number is 0800 10 20 30 40. It's an easy number, 0800 10 20 30 40. And because we know that in Nigeria, not everyone necessarily understands English or any one language, that help center responds in English, Pidgin English, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. And you can call them any time of the day, someone will be there to help. While we appreciate our governors for their efforts on drug control, we still call on them to please build at least one rehabilitation center in the states. Some states do not have rehabilitation centers. I don't want to mention the states, but some states do not have rehabilitation centers from the state governments, and we urge, because of the type of problem that we have, that states take it upon themselves, or civil society organizations, philanthropists. We had a particular person who he came to see me. First, he thanked me that his son, who had drug abuse problem, has been rehabilitated by NDLEA, and that he's going to build a rehabilitation center himself for NDLEA. So we have this type of people. Communities also, recently I was in Ogbomoso, the community built a rehabilitation center. So I want to urge that governors make sure they have in their states And public-spirited individuals, please support this service. Now, at the NDLEA, we have also rolled out a series of strategic interventions, including the War Against Drug Abuse, WADA. It's a social advocacy initiative which is aimed at educating and mobilizing communities and students to take a stand against drug abuse. And in 4 years, we have conducted over 9,200 of such engagements in schools, worship centers, workplaces, motor parks, communities, and so on. What you saw on the video is just one of those efforts. We have done this type of advocacy in the schools, in communities, in masjids, churches, traditional girls. We've gone everywhere, and every week we post it out. So far we've done over 9,000 of that. Now, one of the strategic measures of the war against drug abuse is the establishment of war against drug abuse clubs in schools, raising peer counselors and educators among young people. Empowering young people with knowledge, skills, and resources is central to our strategy. Therefore, the agency partners, we partner with schools, universities, women's groups, youth organizations, workplaces, religious and community organizations, and so on. Even today, we are partnering with the National Orientation Agency. We organize campaigns, seminars, workshops, football matches, debates, quizzes, essays, and we do information, education, and communication materials with different concepts and illustrations. This all to raise public awareness. Closely linked to this is our Save Our Families and drug test kits. I want to take the opportunity to encourage parents, and I think most of us here are parents, to buy drug test kits, which is available in all the NDLEA commands. With the drug test kits, you are able to tell within 5 minutes if your child is suffering from drug abuse. Don't live in isolation. Parents, your children are living with you, they go to school, come back. Once you see that there's something different in the behavior or the action of your child, don't wait. And you ask him, are you on drugs? Most of them will deny it. Bring the kit and test him, because it's better to face the challenge of drug abuse early before it becomes addiction, and before you know it, you have a mental son or daughter with you in the house. This is very, very important. And now let me touch on another topic by asking a question. Please, in this room, if you want your son or your daughter to marry someone who is using drugs, raise your hand. Aha. Nobody wants it. Because I saw domestic violence is in the theme. Most domestic violence comes from where? Drugs. Parents, you can help yourselves. When your children go to get wedding fatia or marriage, they do what? HIV test. How can you? They do genotype test. How can you? Me zai sa ba za su yi drug test ba a hada. Are you with me? You must ensure that when your daughters go to get married, when they bring the certificate, bring your own daughter's certificate that she's drug-free, and bring the husband, Shimanashi. Otherwise, the risk will always be there. And the traditional malamai, pastors, this is squarely in your terrain, and the state governments should take this up. If you go to some states and some place of worship for wedding, they ask for it. They tell you, Madam Daura Aure Nambase Koya drug-free certificate. And the essence of asking for drug-free certificate before wedding, one, is to forestall violence after the marriage. And secondly, when somebody says he is having drug issue, ba wai za hana auren bane, amma ka je asibiti a gyara lamarin. When you are okay, come back and my daughter, you can marry her. Kogwa. The last concluding part I would like to draw attention mostly concerns the state governments to try their best for our youths, to give them jobs. This is very important because if you come to NDLEA for rehabilitation and we rehabilitate you, then you go back to poverty again. You will relapse. Kokwa, the same condition that brought you, if you go back and meet it, it will relapse. And I want to encourage state governments to try their best, and probably through agriculture, that's easiest because we have a lot of land for our youth. You support them. And at least this is something that worked for me in Lagos with the area boys. During my tenure, by area boys, because we rehabilitated them, muka ba su jari, muka koya musu sana'o'i, and they became normal people after that. I want to encourage state governments to try their best in giving jobs. I thank you all and wish you success in this campaign. Thank you.
Well done, sir. Idan kana son jarabu marwa ya maka dariya ya ji kana yaƙi da miyagun ƙwayoyi. Please, another big round of applause for General Buba Marwa, retired CON. You can say, they say catch them young. Their campaign is rooted right away from primary schools, secondary school, and tertiary education. Sir, you're doing wonderfully well in all your activities. May God, in His own infinite mercy, gives you more strength, ability, and more good health in the future. A very big round of applause to the General once again. Please, will the driver or the owner of a car Toyota HMHR 100A go and remove your car because it has blocked the passage of other cars. Please go and park it very well. Let me quickly recognize Olufemi Bukola, Director, Community Development Outreach, Barrister Williams Dogo, Director, Legal Services, Suleiman Haruna, Director, Finance and Account, Asate John, Director, Communication and Media, Dr. Ayola Olufemi, Director, Health and Social Care. We also have Alaja Hamisu Mayeri, Zonal Director, Northwest. We have Mr. David Akoji, Director, Special Duties and Zonal Coordinator, Teresa Mwedoke, Director, Abuse Rights and Narcotics, Alaji Nuru Kebi, Director Planning, Retreat and Strategy, and Research and Strategy anyway, Tesi Inalwe, Director community safety awareness compliance. We also have in our midst from where I come from, the indigene of Zaria, that is my chairman, who is here, Engineer Jamil Ahmed Mohammed. Sir, you're welcome to this particular occasion. Not forgotten, Honorable Architect Usman Murtala Banye, member representing Batagara, Cherenchi, Arimi Federal Constituency, and also Honorable Bala Saulawa, representing Senator Eradua Katsina. You are all welcome to this particular occasion. I will not forget to mention of a very good personality, that is the Commissioner, Public Complaints Commission, Kaduna State. He is Alaji Sani Akilu Idris, Meigirma Jakadan Zazo. You are also welcome to this particular occasion. But I know anywhere Speaker happens to be, you are going to leave everything that you are having so that you will be with him. And no wonder you are also here today. Please, a very big round of applause for that synergy between Meigirma Jakadan Zazo and also Mwamban Gwandu. Permit me also at this particular moment to recognize Dr. Hamisu, who is also a commissioner of Public Complaint Commission, that is Ibrahim Hamidu. His Excellency Ibrahim Hamidu, Commissioner of Federal Public Complaint Commission, Zamfara. Sir, you are also welcome. We are going to have a goodwill message in 3 minutes from the Special Advisor to the President on special duties, that is Tunde Rahman. Sir, you are having 3 minutes for a goodwill message. That is just due to the time. Please give Tunde Rahman, Special Advisor on special duties, to His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm actually Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media, Publicity, and Special Duties. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, the Chairman of the NDLEA, retired but not tired, General Mohamed Buba Marwa, my friend, the hard-working Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Malam Lanre Issa Onilu. I'm sorry I didn't see the governor here, but I also like to recognize his representative. I must confess that when Mr. Lanre Issa Onilu invited me for this event, and I also saw the advertisement on TV, and I saw that this event is being sponsored, being put together by the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, I decided to come here. I said I will attend in order to give support to the Right Honorable and give support to my friend Lanre Issa Onilu as well. I did this because the Right Honorable has been providing very purposeful leadership in the House of Representatives. One classical example of that kind of leadership is the way and manner the House has been handling the matter of very critical tax reform bill. When tempers were going up, particularly in some parts of the North, by some elites, most of whom have not even read what was in the bill. It said that the House under its watch will ensure that all stakeholders are given time and space to express themselves on the bill. The House adjourned, and that's what informed the public hearing that you are seeing. So at the end of the day, what you are going to get in form of a tax reform bill will be something that will drink from the position, the ideas of all stakeholders with respect to taxation, in order to ensure that this bill is essentially pro-poor. Having said that, I scribbled a couple of things down. I'm extremely delighted to be here to participate in this all-important flag off of the intensive campaign against drug abuse and domestic violence in the Northwest geopolitical zone. Drug abuse is a critical public health issue and a social problem. It has become a scourge that affects not only individuals, but also families, communities, and nations. To underscore the seriousness of this malaise, let me draw your attention to a study that was conducted sometime last year by 3 researchers who incidentally are from the north. They are Ahmed Bala, Saleh Dawakin Tofa Bala, and Tuku Mohammed Ali. Published in the Federal University of Oye-Ekiti Journal of Criminology and Security Studies. This research was conducted to study the menace of drug abuse on families in Kano metropolis. It is a survey-based study in which a sample of 1,000 respondents from 8 metropolitan local government areas of Kano metropolis filled some questionnaire. In total, 945 questionnaires were administered and returned. In-depth interviews, focal group discussions were conducted to obtain qualitative data for the research. The research had 4 key objectives, which is 1, to determine the factors responsible for drug abuse in Kano metropolis, the commonly abused drug in that metropolis, the effect of drug abuse in Kano, and the consequences of drug abuse. The findings reveal very many disturbing developments. 1, drug abuse is a trending social problem affecting Kano metropolis, and at the rate at which it is growing is alarming, and it varies from one area to another. 2, drug abuse involves virtually all categories of people, regardless of age, gender, and socio-economic status. 3, the commonly abused drug included Indian hemp, codeine, heroin, cocaine, cigarette, and other dangerous stimulant drugs. 4, the study also found that drug abuse has serious consequences on the physical and psychological well-being of drug users. For instance, it could damage their liver, kidney, or lung, or even lead to fatal diseases or psychiatric problems. The researcher reported that drug problem of individuals extended to affect other family members economically, emotionally, and socially. The major causes of drug abuse, according to the research, included peer group pressure, poor parenting, large population size, and availability of dangerous drugs. Let me add here that drug abuse and domestic violence are closely related in one way. This is because drug abuse often fuels domestic violence. So domestic violence, just like drug abuse, requires urgent attention. Because behind closed doors, many women, children, and even men suffer psychological, emotional, and psychological abuse at the hands of those that are supposed to love and care for them. And the statistics are alarming. According to National Demographic and Health Survey, nearly 30% of women in northern Nigeria have experienced domestic violence from age 15 and up. This is disturbing. So how do we combat the menace of drug abuse? There must be adequate parental supervision. There must be reduction in peer pressure. There must be better government policies on the youth, community intervention, as well as extensive awareness and mass media mobilization campaign. It is therefore in this respect that I must commend the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, and the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Madam Larissa Onilu, who is known as Captain Excellence, for this wonderful intervention. Because we are gathered here to advance and expand the awareness campaign on the menace of drug abuse and domestic violence. I must also commend the NDLEA under General Buba Marwa NDLEA has done extensive work in curtailing drug abuse through apprehension of drug smugglers and drug addicts and seizure of illegal narcotics. NDLEA also, so we must break this cycle of violence and addiction and create a society free of drug abuse and domestic violence. To achieve this, in my view, we need a multifaceted approach that involves government, traditional institutions, the civil society, and individuals. I heard General Marua also talk about this too. We need to strengthen our laws and prevent enforcement mechanisms to prevent proliferation of drugs and prevent victims of domestic violence. We need to provide accessible and affordable treatment and counseling services for those struggling with addiction. We also need to educate our people and communities about the dangers of drug abuse and domestic violence and promote healthy relationships and coping mechanisms. In conclusion, at this point, let me say what many already know, and it is that President Bola Tinubu is fully with us on this awareness campaign. The President wholeheartedly supports the program and will not leave any stone unturned in ensuring that the objective of the campaign, which is the drastic reduction, perhaps outright elimination of the menace of drug abuse and domestic violence, is realized. The President believes drug abuse and domestic violence are not peculiar to any part of the country. They are a national problem, and they require collective action, and we must confront them together. I thank you all for listening to me.
Please, another big round of applause for him. He has done very well. Permit me to quickly recognize Barrister Rabi Yusuf, Chairman, House Committee, Treaties, Agreement and Protocols, Member Sumaila Takai from Kano State, and also Honorable Mohammed Mukhtar Zannan Kazauri, Chairman, House Committee on Tourism, Member representing Kazauri, Runi, Guiwa, Yankwashi, Federal Constituency, Jigawa State. You are all welcome to this particular occasion. At this moment, it's my own humble pleasure and privilege to invite the host address, that is the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented here by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Hajia Sadiq, to come over and deliver the address on his own behalf. Safia Abubakar Sadiq. Ma, can you kindly come over? She is a woman among men. Give her a very big round of applause for that difference. Thank you. Dr. Aisha Abubakar Sadiq. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, the Chairman, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the DG, NOA, the Speaker, Federal House of Representatives, our traditional father here representing us from my emirate, the representatives of the executive governors of Katsina State and other states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, heads of federal agencies, ministries, and parastatals and their representatives, members of the State House of Assembly, state-level executives, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, I wish to welcome you all to this event and to appreciate you for spending your time here with us today to discuss an area of stark interest and global concern for the citizens of Kaduna State. Substance abuse and domestic violence are areas of grave concern for us. Kaduna is a vibrant nation or state within a vibrant nation that has a population of over 10 million people. Despite our rich cultural heritage, we are grappling with this reality in a population that constantly has to handle stressors associated with drug and substance abuse. We have a rising rate of unemployment. The keynote speaker highlighted the fact that the state needs to intervene in ensuring that there is an increase in employment opportunities for our youth. There is a high cost of living. There is the associated insecurity that has come from political instability, ethnic cleansing, and of course, insurgency in some parts of the north. And then we have a high birth rate and a very high youth proportion. The stresses and the predisposing risk factors are constant with us daily. The keynote speaker highlighted the fact that with the increased number of cases of substance abuse, 1 in 4 of them are women. I wish to emphasize the fact that most of the women that we've encountered in our rehabilitation centers abuse over-the-counter prescription drugs. It's imperative that we accept that the drugs that can be abused are not just cocaine and cannabis. There are other drugs. We have people abusing cough syrup. We have people abusing analgesics. Most of the women we see abuse sedatives and analgesic drugs. Now, these increasing cases shows that we're having a shift in the perceived image of a typical substance abuser and an expansion in the spectrum of those affected to include women and adolescents. In an attempt to curb this rising menace, the state government, in partnership with the Federal Neuropsychiatry Hospital, Kaduna State, and other developmental partners, plus philanthropists, including the Women's Union in the market, Central Market, Kaduna, have set up treatment and rehabilitation centers across the state. When the remark was made by the keynote speaker that some states don't have rehabilitation centers, I looked at the DG of the Kaduna State Bureau of Substance Abuse. We have rehabilitation centers in Kaduna State that are fully skilled and staffed and are functioning. One of them is located in Angwansarki, close to the Central Mosque. There is another one in Kaduna South, and they provide the best level of care achievable anywhere in the world. We also intend to expand this to include all LGAs in Kaduna State. I would like to appreciate our local government chairmen because they provided us with the structures we are upgrading to make rehabilitation centers. I appreciate the local government chairmen, and I appeal to those who have not designated anywhere for us in their local governments to please give us somewhere to use to help our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaduna State has been privileged enough to have been trained by the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crimes on alternatives to incarceration. As I mentioned earlier, we have to change our perception of substance abusers. The keynote speaker also highlighted that we cannot arrest and detain everybody. It has to be logical, because the approach of arresting and detaining everybody has been proven to be ineffective in other parts of the world. Our State Bureau of Statistics existing has resulted in us garnering international support and have strengthened our response so that we can focus on ensuring that we as a people tackle substance abuse and ensure that we rehabilitate our citizens and integrate them into society. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a female with a podium or a lectern, so I must speak about domestic violence. It has been mentioned in passing as a partner to substance abuse, but it goes beyond that. There are people who abuse their intimate partners and are not using drugs. There are people who are naturally violent. There are people who have been brought up in violent homes and consider it to be normal. They don't have to take anything. They believe the only way to communicate to you is to hit you. Now, why do we talk about intimate partner violence? It is a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or to maintain power and to control your partner. Unfortunately, we live in a society that has previously normalized it culturally. It's considered an expression of discipline and affection in some cases. A woman must submit to the will of her male partner, and if you get a stronger woman, she has gotten the opportunity to avenge all the wrongs she perceives on her partner in a marriage. This is an uninformed position. It has proven to be hazardous. It has cost lives. It has disabled intimate partners and has affected, in some cases, irreversibly, the mental and behavioral development of our children, who are innocent bystanders in homes or environments where these acts are committed. The state government has intensified its efforts to address this previously neglected reality. We have set up all-inclusive shelters that are available and accessible to victims of intimate partner violence, whether male or female. These facilities provide treatment and rehabilitation. They provide skills acquisition. They provide access to educational opportunities and also access to specialized healthcare experts. I wish to add that intimate partner violence or domestic violence can only be tackled through a group response. We as a people and a community must say no to abuse, which can culminate in murder. It's always very painful for me to witness somebody who has been killed by an intimate partner. I remember one I saw recently. It was a medical doctor from the eastern part of his country, and he was killed by his wife in the United States. It was such a waste for us as a people. We cannot justify violence as a normal part of passionate relationships. The Christians here will remember Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It is not proud. Ladies and gentlemen, violence is not love. Abuse is not love. Subjugation is not love. We therefore must come together and ensure that what has been normalized is stopped, and we save and protect those that have not been killed yet. We as citizens of Kaduna State wish to appreciate the National Orientation Agency for conceptualizing the flag of this crucial campaign on substance abuse and domestic violence. I wish to appreciate all key stakeholders here seated and citizens, and I appeal to you to support this laudable initiative. I wish to also appeal to the citizens to utilize our existing rehabilitation centers. Ladies and gentlemen, what protects you protects your community. What protects your community protects your bloodline. We will eventually die and leave them to live in the reality that exists in the Federal Republic. If we have substance abusers on the street, we have men hitting women, we have women attacking men, we are going to leave our children and grandchildren to live in that unbearable reality. I wish to appreciate all of you for showing up on time and for paying attention to the deliberations here today. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide us as we attempt to institute change in this country and the state. May Allah make it easy for us. Thank you for your attention.
She said it all and even said, thank you for the attention you have given to her. Please, another big round of applause for her. And I would like you to note that Dr. Aisha Abubakar Sadiq, the incumbent permanent secretary, Ministry of Health, Kaduna State, wasn't merely chosen by His Excellency to come and represent him here. It's because he knows she is capable and able, and she has proven that beyond reasonable doubt. Please, another big round of applause to Dr. Aisha Abubakar Sadiq, permanent secretary, Ministry of Health, Kaduna State. We are going to simmer the tempo down with cultural interlude of 3 minutes only, because in an occasion of this magnitude, traditional touch need to be done. In kun shirya mun shirya, ina kuke masu bugu da waka, ku zo ku bubbuga mana. Yawwa. Yawwa. Adan hanzarta. Yawwa. Gangunan sun kai 1000 ne don kun san iyan zazzauna a guri? Shi yasa ku kai wannan abu? To kar ku manta, wamban gwando ne ma, wamban. subhanallahi, inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Subhanallahi. Moda, ya za mu yi da wannan bakin ciki da bacin rai da ya dame mu ga 'ya'yanmu da matanmu da jikokinmu? Jibi wannan yara.
Allah ka raba mu da wannan bakin ciki. Yanzu fi sabilillahi ƴaƴayenmu ne ke da wannan tabi'ar. Ka zo gidanka can ya lalace, gida ya lalace, yara shan kwaya, matan aure shan kwaya.
Me yasa me ke damun ku ne? Kun zo kun tarar da yara suna nishadi, kun zo kuna ta wani cece ku ce a kansu. Yanzu sanin kanku ne, wallahi idan yaran nan suka gane kuna sa musu ido, idan ba suka tashi muku rashin mutunci, ni babu abin da ya dame ni. Kai dan sanda ne? Kai dan sanda ne? Kai soja ne? Ko kai NDLEA ne? To me na ku da sa ido? In za ku kyale yara su shakata, ku kyale yara su shakata.
Yaro bari mu gaya maka. Mu ba 'yan sanda bane, ba sojoji bane, ba NDLE bane, ba kowa bane a ba za yi, amma karfin mu anguwan nan mun fi karfin national anthem. Wallahi.
O za ku ci gaba da sa ido?
Ba magana sa ido.
Kaga kai hankali ba. Wallahi yaran nan. Ya muna magidanta ba za mu ga abun bakin ciki da bacin rai ba.
Yanzu wannan ita ma a riskan take? Ke!
Wannan aljanunta ya tashi.
Na?
Aljanu.
Ba aljanu bane, wannan maganin ta na kemis.
Yanzu haka za mu zura ido, haka za mu tsaya muna ji muna gani.
Aike jimare abu ya zo ƙarshe. Zo daga nan maka gulma.
To zo. Ina jin ka.
Ka duba da kyau ka gani.
Na'am.
Shi kanshi a gidan shi ko gero ba a sha saboda ina ganin kaman abu da ya shafi kwaya baya amfani.
Waye wannan? Waye bai shan gero?
Janaral da wani rabin janaral.
Ka ce shugaban yaƙi da fataucin miyagun ƙwayoyi da sayar da su, janar Buba Marwa. Ai bai ɗaukar wasa.
Ɗaya kenan. Na biyu.
Ya aka yi.
Kun gane shi? Ita kuma wannan yarinya fa. To su ne dillalan da suke ba ma 'ya'yanku kwaya suke sha lungu-lungu sako-sako. Yanzu hukumar NDLEA ta samu nasarar kamo su.
Shi kenan alhamdulillah. Alhaji. Ai yanzu ne ta zo jami'i. Da Allah yi haƙuri. Wannan aiki ba naku bane ku kadai. Mutanen gari da 'yan anguwa sun san masu shaya, sun san masu saidawa. Aikin ku ba lalle bane kawai sai kun ga mai mota ku tsaye da shi ku ce a sauke jaka a duba. Ku ba mu dama mu 'yan anguwa. Mu zama masu tsaye gumi da zarar mun gani mu gaya muku.
Ai an gama.
Kuma ya kamata don Allah don annabi a gaya wa shi shugaba. Duk abin da za a yi da ya shafi maganar waɗannan ƙwayoyi su ɗauki kyakkyawan mataki. Idan ma za a kafa musu kotu ne domin hukunta waɗannan mutane a yi.
Ai janar Buba Marwa ai yayi alƙawali ya ce lungu sako tare da National Orientation Agency. Kai. Ai iye. To alhamdulillah Allah ya ba su sa'a. Muna godiya.